All right, we're connected, or we're recording.
I'd like to welcome everyone to this evening's Zoom meeting for April the 1st, 2021 of the Planning and Zoning Commission of Warrenton, Missouri. Our first order of business will be our public hearing and public comment policy. The first things will be the public hearing with Villages of Warrior Ridge, Lot 49, A, B, C, and D, and Lot 61, A, B, C, D, conditional use permit 73. Someone there to speak on behalf of that for us?
I think Tim's going to read the public hearing policy and the public comment.
Okay, I was wondering what that meant. That's my fault then. Let's go back to the public hearing and public comment policy so Ms. Burks can read that for us.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Chairman Barton. Members, the public hearing, public comment policy. City staff will present and request inclusions of the necessary items in the record. Applicants and representatives will be given 10 minutes to present projects and information. Public will be given 5 minutes to provide comments. When buzzer goes off, 30 additional seconds will be given to conclude remarks. After public has spoke, applicants will be given 5 minutes to address any issues, concerns brought forth during public comments. This dialogue is with the board and not the public. Speakers shall not directly question applicants. All comments are to be directed to the board, mayor, or attorney. On zoning matters that do not require public hearing, this same protocol will be followed during public comment section for each zoning item. At no time, speakers are allowed to yield their time to another speaker to allow more than 5 minutes. During the agenda, item discussion and comments from board only will occur, no public input. That's all.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Burks.
You're welcome, sir.
All right. Next order of business will be the first public hearing, and that'll be the Villages of Warrior Ridge, Lot 49, A, B, C, and D, Lot 61, A, B, C, and D, conditional use permit -73.
As a preliminary matter for this public hearing, I will ask the publication notice published in Warren County Record be made part of the record by reference. The city comprehensive plan and city ordinance be made part of the record by reference. The planning and zoning officer's report be made part of the record by reference. Presenting you tonight the Village of Warrior Ridge, Lot 49, A, B, C, and D, and Lot 61, A, B, C, and D, conditional use permit. The property is currently zoned R3, high density residential. The applicant is New Image Painting LLC. On Q23-21, request was filed for conditional use permit approval, was submitted for lot 49 A, B, C, and D, 809 to 815 Navajo Trail, and lot 61 A, B, C, and D, 850 to 856 Navajo Trail, Village of Warrior Ridge, to divide the property and to allow transfer ownership of each unit separately. The public hearing was published in Warren County Record on March 11, 2021. The staff recommends subdividing the lots 49 A, B, C, and D, lot 61 A, B, C, and D. The subdividing of the lots will allow individual ownership for each unit of the quadplex. The subdividing will not adversely affect the adjacent property. And that's all on that one.
Thank you, Mr. Burks. So the next step would be the builder themselves, if they're here to speak.
The applicant and Bart from Lewis and Beatty should be here to answer questions on that.
Okay. Bart, are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
All right, there you go. For the record, Bart Foreman, Lewis and Beatty Surveyors and Engineers. Mr. Burke presented pretty well there. This is a couple of the quadplexes over there at Warrior Ridge, and need to basically be able to divide them up so they can be sold off individually for an individual homeowners. Pretty simple, straightforward. Many of the other quadplexes there have done the same. Some of them were done by a different procedure years ago, but this is the proper procedure to do this now. And pretty simple, and I'll take any questions anybody may have during my, I guess, my later 5 minutes. I'll address any that I can.
Thank you, Mr. Corman. Anyone from the public here to speak on behalf of this tonight? Does
Hey,
anybody-
Chairman.
Yes.
Chairman, Chris Graville here. I just wanted to ask Bart, do you know how many of these lots are left? I know there's only probably a couple left in the city. Are you aware of any that are remaining that can still be subdivided?
Not offhand. I think there's a couple maybe here and there out at Warrior Ridge. This probably sums up most of them because a few of these got built with single families on them. So
Yeah, I know
there's
that.
not very many left.
Yeah, and my point in asking that question for the Planning and Zoning Commission is to remind the commission that there are a certain amount of these lots that had a special approval, and they were subdivided, and the Board of Aldermen did this fix, but it's a finite amount of lots. Melody, you may know, probably not off the top of your head how many of these are left, but I think there's only a couple of them that they'll be able to do this. Otherwise, it'll be unified ownership.
That's correct. I don't believe there's that many left. I can look into it tomorrow and get a definite answer if you need it.
All right, is everybody okay with that? Anybody from the public would like to speak on behalf of conditional use permit -73? Ms. Rue, Ms. Walter, do you have anybody on the phone that wants to talk?
I do not.
Okay,
I do not.
all right. If that's the case, there's really no reason to go to the applicant to answer any questions. So let's just close that public hearing. Open up the next public hearing, which will be the Villages of Warrior Ridge, Lot 49, A, B, C, and D, Lot 61, A, B, C, and D, Site Plan -144. Mr. Burks?
Okay, as a preliminary matter for this public hearing, I'll ask the publication notice published in the Warren County Record be made part of the record by reference. The city comprehensive plan and city ordinance be made part of the record by reference. And the planning and zoning officer report be made part of the record by reference. This site plan is for lot 49 and lot 61, Village of Warrior Ridge. It's currently zone R3. The applicant is New Image Painting LLC. On 2/23/21, a request was filed for a site plan approval. Was submitted for a lot 49 ABCD 809 to 815 Navajo and lot 61 ABCD 850 to 856 Navajo in the Village of Warrior Ridge to divide the property and allow transfer of ownership for each unit separately. Additional property information, you can see the attached plan drawing and information packet submitted on 2/23/21. See the attached public hearing notice and notification to property owners. The Public Works Director has reviewed and approved the site plan requests for items regarding the Public Works Department. That's all I have, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Burks. Mr. Corman, you have a comment?
For the record, Bart, Corman, Lewis, and Beatty. No real comments on this one, similar to the last. It's just the formality that we have to go through to be able to divide these into separate units.
Thank you, Mr. Corman. Anybody from the public that would like to speak at this time on behalf of Site Plan -144 of Villages of Warrior Ridge? Hearing none, we'll need no comment from the applicant back, so we'll close our public hearings for this evening. Open up our regular Planning and Zoning Commission meeting with our minutes from the March 4th, 2021 P&Z meeting. And if you don't mind, when you make your motion, state your name for the record so we can hear. Anyone making a motion for the minutes?
Scott Costello, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for the March 4th meeting as submitted.
Thank you,
And I
Mr.
will
Costello.
second.
Thank you, Mr. Cullum. Motion by Mr. Costello, second by Mr. Cullum to approve the minutes as submitted. Any other questions or comments? Roll call vote.
Mr. Barton,
Yes.
Mr. Durbin, Mr. Durbin,
Can you hear me now?
yeah, now I can.
Okay, yes.
Mr. Cooper is absent, Mr. Priest is absent, Mr. Holt,
Yes.
Mr. Costello,
Yes.
Mr. Deitch,
yes,
Mr. Cullum.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0 with 2 absent, 2 vacates. Next order of business will be election of officers. So we've got some that are missing tonight, so they will become the new officers, the way we kind of work things. No? That never works. Even my
I'd like to
wife.
nominate Rich Barton as president.
second, John Beach, second for Rich Barton.
No comments from anyone to overthrow the government here?
I'll make a motion to accept Rich Barton as president by acclamation.
Second, John Beach,
Do we need a roll call vote?
No,
Yes.
Well,
Or no? What, go ahead, Chris.
since there's only one nominee, you can just call it as a vote, or you can do a roll call vote. If Melody wants it a roll call vote, we do what Melody says.
Right.
Let's do a roll call vote.
Roll call vote for Rich Barton as president.
Mr. Costello,
Yes.
Mr. Deitch,
yes,
Mr. Cullum,
Yes.
Mr. Barton,
Yes.
Mr. Durbin,
Yes.
Mr. Cooper.
He's not here.
Oh, that's right. Mr. Holt, sorry.
Yes.
All right, I'll accept it since the Cardinals won today. Tried to give it away. All right. So next we have what?
Vice President or Vice Chairman.
I nominate Scott Costello by acclamation.
John Beach, I'll second that nomination.
All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Roll call vote.
Would be Mr. Deitch,
Yes,
Mr. Cullum,
Yes.
Mr. Barton,
Yes.
Mr. Durbin,
Yes.
Mr. Holt,
Yes.
Mr. Costello.
Do I have to?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
All right. Yes.
And now we need a secretary.
I would like to nominate Mr. John Deitch as secretary.
would decline the nomination, thank you, Scott. But I would like to nominate Mr. Durbin as secretary.
I guess I was secretary last time, wasn't I?
Yeah, that just means you know how to do that. You just go ahead and sign the
Yeah.
papers and stuff. All right.
Yeah.
I second
I
that
never
motion.
had to sign anything, so, okay,
Yeah.
whatever.
Okay. Roll call vote.
Mr. Cullum,
Yes.
Mr. Barton,
Yes.
Mr. Durbin,
Yes.
Mr. Holt,
Yes.
Mr. Costello,
Yes.
and Mr. Deitch.
Yes,
All right. Is that all for tonight?
That's it.
Okay, next we'll have our public comments for the Meadows at Walnut Hollow Plat 4 revised subdivision -81. So we'll start with Mr. Burks to kind of bring us up to speed on this one if he doesn't mind.
Okay. Melanie, do I have to read the,
No,
okay, I could see it was up, I'm sorry.
No, that's for me probably. Thank you for doing that.
Okay. The Meadows of Walnut Hollow, Plat 4, revised preliminary plat. This is a 31.2 acres on Walnut Creek Road. It's zoned R2 Single Family Residential District. The applicant is Hickory Ridge Family LLC. Okay. Louis and Beatty Incorporated on behalf of Hickory Ridge Family LLC has submitted an application for revised preliminary plat for the 31.2 acre area of land along Walnut Creek Road. The original preliminary plat depicted 76 single-family lots. The revision plan includes relocating the stormwater detention area approximately 200 feet and adding 4 additional single-family lots for a total of 80 single-family lots. There's no changes to the street network are included in the prior analysis, and recommendation for consistency of the proposal with the comprehensive plan remains unchanged. The staff has reviewed the proposed revision preliminary plat and found that the proposal is consistent with chapter 410 subdivision regulation of Warren Municipal Code. Further, the proposed design of the residential subdivision furthers the goal of the comprehensive plan. Staff recommends approval of the preliminary plat. That's all.
Thank you, Mr. Burks. Mr. Corman.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Yeah, so it's pretty much the same except for 4 lots over there by the detention pond. When we were laying this out, we wanted those 4 lots, but we were afraid that the pond itself was going to get into potentially core jurisdictional waters.
Right.
Since that, the jurisdictional regulations have eased some, and so now we're comfortable being able to move that pond down a little bit and get those 4 lots back that we originally wanted, but weren't submitted because the regulations changed at the federal level about October, about when we were putting this all together. And so when we found out about that and we were getting this laid out, we talked with Mr. Heath about it, and he said, "Yep, let's do that." And because it was a significant enough change to warrant coming back to you guys, because it was adding four additional lots. So
Right.
That's why we're back here, because there was really no formality way of approving it without coming back to you. So
Right. Sounds like win-win there, though. Okay, thank you.
it is. Yep.
We'll open it up for the public comments. Anyone on public comments tonight for,
I don't have anything.
okay, for the Meadows at Walnut Hollow Plat 4? All right, since we don't have any public comments, we won't need to go back to the applicant. We'll open it up to the commissioners. Anybody have any comments? Anybody have any questions for the commission on this for Mr. Corman or for Mr. Burks on the Meadows at Walnut Hollow, Plat 4? I think it was pretty much cut and dried what they were wanting to do, and it meets all the requirements, meets the legalities of it. So I'll entertain a motion if that's okay with everybody.
All right, Scott Costello, I'll make the motion to recommend approval of the Meadows at Walnut Hollow Plat 4 revised subdivision 81.
Dan Durbin, I'll second it.
Motion by Mr. Costello, second by Mr. Durbin to approve the Meadows at Walnut Hollow Plat 4, the revised subdivision -81 plan. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Mr. Deitch,
Yes.
Mr. Cullen,
Yes.
Mr. Barton,
Yes.
Mr. Durbin,
Yes.
Mr. Holt,
Yes.
Mr. Costello.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0 with 2 absent. Next order of business will be the Villages of Warrior Ridge, Lot 49, A, B, C, and D, along with Lot 61, A, B, C, and D, conditional use permit -73. That was just presented to us by Mr. Burks and Mr. Corman. I'll open it up for any questions from the commissioners at this time.
I'll have a question.
Okay.
So, Mr. Corman, you might have the answer to this. Essentially, a single structure occupied by 4 individual owners. How is the exterior maintenance and all of the upkeep, the landscaping, and the premises upkeep going to be handled?
Sure. I don't have the exact answer on that for this particular case, but in most cases, there's a miniature homeowners association type situation. And to do that, I'm assuming that's going to be the case here. I don't know that 100%, but that's what's usually done like that. You'll see some of them that were divided. Previous were just around the building itself, and then the rest of it was considered common ground. Similar type situation, but it is kind of funny that they have to do something like that though, because if you're like working on a roof, you got to have everybody has to agree. Otherwise, you're going to have a lot of gaps right there at the roof line. So that's what they got to do that. There's a couple different ways to do it, but that's how most of them are done.
So my concern is, if we have some siding blow off or whatever, what's the assurance that that's going to get repaired and that there's going to be some agreement? I'd like to suggest, at least as a condition of the conditional use permit, that we get some kind of confirmation or verification that there are covenants or some other document that will control and address those kinds of questions.
Okay. Fair enough.
I know that's the way my daughter lives in a similar situation. That's the way it's handled, that they all pay a monthly HOA, and then one of the tenants runs that meeting or whatever when it comes up. So, but I agree with Scott that we need that as a part of the.
I think in a typical condominium association, that is what's they'll have there's actually a format that condominium associations all kind of organize under.
Sure.
My concern is that it looks kind of like this is an ad hoc type of arrangement where we're trying to address the issue after the fact. My guess is there's not any kind of a condo association
in place.
And so I just feel like we need to have some kind of security that 5 or 10 years from now, everybody's not pointing the finger at the other guy about who's responsible for making what might not look very nice look better and be maintained. So.
And can we have those questions answered by the time it goes in front of the Board of Aldermen as well, Bart?
Yeah, I will talk with Mr. Beckmeyer and make sure that we get some kind of documentation on that.
I have it noted.
Thank you. All right. Entertain a motion then.
Okay, Scott Costello again. I will make a motion to recommend approval of Villages at Warrior Ridge, lots 49A, B, C, D, and lot 61A, B, C, and D as conditional use permit 73, with the condition that there be a written agreement in place for all 8 units that will address questions of maintenance, upkeep, and appearance of the units.
Eric Holt, I'll second.
Very good. I have a motion by Mr. Costello, second by Mr. Holt to approve conditional use permit -73 with the caveat that there'll be some documentation in place before it gets to the Board of Aldermen so they can discuss that as well. So any other questions or comments from the board? Roll call vote.
Mr. Holt,
Yes.
Mr. Durbin,
Yes.
Mr. Barton,
Yes.
Mr. Cullen,
Yes.
Mr. Deitch,
Yes.
Mr. Costello.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0 with 2 absent. Next order of business will be the Villages of Warrior Ridge, lot 49A, B, C, and D, lot 61A, B, C, and D, and that'll be for the site plan -144. Open it up for any questions. From the board that we've heard Bart talk about and Mr. Burks talk about. So do anybody have any questions about the site plan itself? Hearing none, we'll entertain a motion.
Come on, somebody.
Come on, somebody.
Somebody, it'd be me. I'll make a motion to accept it.
I'll second.
Who seconded it?
Mr. Costello.
All right, motion by Mr. Durbin, second by Mr. Costello to approve the villages of Warrior Ridge, lot 49A, B, C, and D, lot 61A, B, C, and D, site plan dash 144. Any other questions or comments from the board? Roll call vote.
Mr. Deitch,
Yes.
Mr. Cohen,
Yes.
Mr. Barton,
Yes.
Mr. Durbin,
Yes,
Mr. Holt,
Yes.
Mr. Costello.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0 with 2 absents. We'll close the official meeting and turn it over to Mr. Burks if he has anything for us.
And next month's gonna be a busy month. We have a resolution to adopt an amendment to the comprehensive plan, adding a street plan.
Okay.
We have a site plan for former mutual insurance building on South Highway 47. Of a site plan and a conditional use permit for B&B sign and graphics business. We have the zone change and subdivision for Park Hills. We have 2 boundary line adjustments and 1 preliminary and final plat, all for next month.
And Mr. Deitch, you will be getting together the menu.
I will do that.
You'll be requesting the menu for Mrs. Rue to get together for us, right, for dinner?
Well, after hearing what Mr. Burks has to say, I think not only dinner, but breakfast as well.
All right. Does anybody else have anything for the good of the group?
Chairman, if I can.
Yes, Mr. Gravel, go ahead, sir.
I wanted to introduce the newest attorney with the Gravel Law Firm, Tiana Drake, who's on. You can wave hi, Tiana. You don't have to say anything. And she's just observing the meeting and learning planning and zoning. So I just wanted to introduce her to everybody.
Hi, there she is. Hi, Ms. Drake. Thank you.
Welcome to Warren County.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Gravel. Go Redbirds. Anybody else have anything? Thanks, Brandy. Thanks, Melody. Mr. Deitch, it's you.
Yes, John Deitch, I'll move that we adjourn the meeting.
Any second?
Mr. Costello will second.
All in favor, say aye. Good night.
Aye.
Thanks, guys.
good night.